But right now, I want to welcome to the program our friend Yehuda Remer is with us. Yehuda, it's good to see you, sir.
It's good to be back.
All right, so we first spoke with Yehuda at the NRATV meeting in Atlanta. You had a book out called Safety On, and now we've got a Safety On series here, the ABCs of guns.
Yeah.
This is very cool.
Thank you.
And I got to say, I know that this is, maybe designed for kids, but I think the media could benefit from this as well. I just want to point out here, C is for clip, M is for magazine. So there you go. One of the really hard things for the media to try to remember, the difference between a clip and a magazine. All you got to do is get the ABCs of guns, and you're good to go.
I've had a lot of people tell me I should send copies to MSNBC and CNN, so I actually might do that.
NBC too. David Gregory could probably use some help. So what made you decide that you wanted to carry on with this series? Was Safety On a big hit for you?
Yeah, it was. I got incredible reviews, very positive feedback, and I figured, hey, no one's doing what I'm doing. No one's writing books geared towards children. Dealing with firearms, and I figured, why not do something like this? I think it would be a lot of fun, and as important it is for kids to know firearm safety, it's also important for them to know the vernacular, and this stemmed from that, and it's been a lot of fun.
And I got to think too that for maybe even for some folks who don't have any kids, this is, I don't want to call it a novelty item, but this is something that you can purchase, and it's got a little bit of a fun factor for gun owners.
Yes, a lot of adults are telling me that they want it for their coffee tables already. They're like, we'll buy it, we'll let our kids read it, but it's my book, not my kid's book. So
it's the conversation.
That's the conversation. Sorry, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Or you give this to your relative or your friend when they have a kid, and hey, I don't know how you feel about firearms, but here you go, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Happy birthday. So how long did it take you to come up with the ABCs of guns?
Some of the things like ammunition, A's for ammunition and AR-15 obviously didn't take a long time.
Sure.
But things like yaw is for, Y is for yaw, and Z was a big pain. U was a huge pain to come up with. I wanted to do, like an underbarrel and get like a M203 grenade launcher, but I couldn't get my hands on one. So, just figured it out, talked with the photographer who did a phenomenal job, and we just figured out what we're going to want in it. And he took the pictures, and just that's what you see.
It's really pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, you made it a little bit tougher because you don't have any like brand names in here. So it's not like Y is for, W is for Winchester or things like that. I mean, you kind of upped the ante on this. You made it a little bit harder for you, Yehuda.
I did. A lot of people told me I should try to get, like W for Winchester, and, maybe get them to sponsor that page. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted it. The book wasn't it wasn't the ABCs of gun manufacturers.
Right.
It was the ABCs of guns. So I wanted to pick things in the book that children need to know. In terms of, obviously, you're not going to have a 4-year-old know what a yaw is exactly, but you try to come up with another Y. But I wanted it to be things that you hear a lot in the media. You hear a lot. You hear a lot of gun people talking about, and I wanted it to be in the children's minds that they know what each piece is.
Have you gotten a lot of pushback for this?
So the book only came out about 3.5 weeks ago. So I'm waiting for the pushback. I'm excited for the pushback. One thing I like is that people in the gun industry, when you have a book like this and all of a sudden you get attacked by the left, they just circle the wagons and they're on your side. So I'm not worried about it. I'm just, like I said, I got to send it to MSNBC and CNN and wait for the pushback.
Well, did you get pushback for Safety On at all?
You know what? No, nothing. I would love to see some pushback, but what's the left going to do? They're going to actually demonize a book on gun safety?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I remember the same meeting in Atlanta where we met you for the first time. I got to meet Aaron Pallett of Operation Blazing Sword for the first time. And I remember Aaron telling me, no, I haven't gotten any criticism. I'm hoping for criticism. I want criticism because that raises our, the awareness level of what we're doing. And it does seem like it's easier for anti-gun advocates to say, I don't know how to deal with this, so I'm just going to ignore it. I'm not going to critique it. I'm not going to attack it because I don't know the best way to do that. So I'll just pretend that this doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's basically, I think, what's happening with my first book, with Safety On, is that how are you going to attack a book that deals solely on gun safety? It has no political agenda whatsoever. It's whether you're on the left side of the aisle, right side of the aisle, it doesn't make a difference. What happens if your kid is going to find a gun somewhere it's not supposed to be? You know, what if you leave the gun on your coffee room table, and just
Right.
the kid finds it? You know, that's what the book talks about.
But they're, you know, they're not promoting it either, which is weird because all these people are calling themselves gun safety advocates, Yehuda, right? They're don't call it gun control, call it gun safety, and yet here you have a book that's about real gun safety, and Shannon Watts didn't reach out to you, right? Mom's Demand actually didn't say, Yehuda, this is great. We may disagree on, you know, gun ownership, but we're really pleased that you did this. Could we start carrying these books to our meetings? You had no contact or no outreach from any of the quote-unquote gun safety groups?
None. Actually, is the opposite. I was on Colleen Noir's show talking about gun safety, and he asked the same question. I'm like, no, you know, Shannon Watts, you know, never got back to me about it. And he's like, look, by the time the show's over, she's going to be blocking you on Twitter. Literally 30 minutes later, I was blocked on Twitter by her. So, you know.
You are part of a large and not so exclusive club, I have to tell you,
yes.
Yehuda.
So I've been told.
Kind of like joining Sam's Club. You know, it's just, there are a lot of us out there. And unfortunately, that's just the way that it is. But I do think that it speaks to the importance of what it is that you're doing. And, you know, look, we've seen gun control advocates. They've you know, tried to call semi-automatic firearms, you know, quote unquote, assault weapons. They love to mangle the language, and so it's important to reclaim. I think in particular, it's really important to reclaim that phrase "gun safety" because gun safety does not mean don't own a gun, and that's exactly what these anti-gun advocates want it to mean.
Right.
Gun safety means education and training, and look, education and training for a 4-year-old is going to be a lot different than education and training for a 40-year-old.
Exactly.
Right? But it's still about those concepts of education and training, whatever your age level, whether it's terms of, you know, stop, don't touch, run away till a grown-up, or here are the, you know, 4 basic rules of gun safety, and here's actually, you know, now we're going to move into the range setting. It all comes down to that same concept of learning more, right?
Yeah, I mean, the more you educate, you know, the more people are prepared. You know, why do we teach our kids when they're babies not to touch a stove or an oven? Oh, because it's hot. But obviously, by the time they're a little older, they understand that if you touch it, you get hurt. I mean, the same thing with a firearm. A firearm is nothing more than a tool. And if you teach them how to use the tool properly, then, you know, I mean, obviously accidents could and unfortunately will happen, but let's try limiting it as much as possible.
We're bringing those numbers down, and
yeah.
That's the thing. And it's not from anti-gun advocates. It's through real gun safety. So the ABCs of guns, it's out now, YehudaRemer.com.
Yep.
All right, you working on the 1, 2, 3s of guns next?
I have a couple in the works. I have 3 other projects in the works. So
all right, well, that's good. We're glad you got stuff in the pipeline, Yehuda. It's always good seeing you, sir.
Always good being here.
Thanks
you.
so much for spending some time with us today.